And we are live. Welcome to the process. It is Tuesday, March 30th. Wow, we are almost there. 3 months. That's kind of crazy. Whew. 11 gamer last night was a lot more than I wanted, that's for sure. Back with a nice 4 gamer today. This should be pretty fun. Happy to see everybody here this morning. I love the morning crew. Please hit that like button as you get in the door. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. I'm going to mute my microphone really quickly so I can move it to the right and it doesn't make a ton of noise in your ears. There we go. Perfect. Bluegrass Jeff, Dennis, Bin Snap, and G Joyner. Good to see everybody here. Morning to everybody. We'll be able to get through this one pretty quickly, which is nice. And shout out to Monkey Knife Fight, the presenting sponsor of the process. 100% instant deposit match bonus up to $50 as long as you sign up with the promo code Awesemo. Doesn't get much better than that. Who doesn't want free money? Just go get some free money, guys. Free money. Make a $50 deposit, get another $50. You double your money immediately. That's better than entering any contest you're going to enter. Why not do it? That's what I always say. Appreciate you guys hitting that like button. Helps me out a ton. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of tunage going on in the background. If we can. Yeah, there we go. Something light at least. Izzy, glad you got the Awesemo account up and running. That's good. That's what I like to hear. 4 games. We can take this one pretty casually. Nothing too good for me yesterday. I got 2 into the top 1%, I think. Let me double check it. Which I guess I can't complain too much about. It's an average day. No, 3 into the top 1%. 507, 529, and 720. So 3 out of 150. You can't be mad about something like that. Right? That's 2% in the top 1%. That's all you can hope for. That's how you have to think about it, guys. With these top-heavy payout structures, it's really, really difficult to want or to be able to just track it financially. I lose a lot of days, but I put 3 lineups into the top 100 or into the top 1 percentile of the contest, or into the 99th percentile, I guess is the correct way to say that, and technically that's 2% of my entries. So I had 2% of my entries in 1%, in a 1% chunk, the best 1% chunk. That's good. That's all I can do. Yeah, I dare you. I had quite a bit of Russ. Quite a bit of Russ. And a little bit too much Karis LeVert last night. That didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. But that's fine. We're going to kick this one off now. And I'm really anxious to see what crunches and everything look like, just because it's a 4-gamer. We could see some really weird stuff. Morning, guys, morning. But before we get to anything, before we start anything, you guys know the drill. Cheers to everyone. Good morning. Grab your coffees, your joint, whatever cocktails you're drinking in the morning, which I can't advocate for. Maybe you're bin snapping and you got a sausage biscuit from McDonald's as well, which I'm jealous about. Although I prefer the English muffin to the biscuit, if I'm being honest. But cheers, everybody. Wow, King Hope, that's got to be tough to do. I am pretty happy about, I had a lot of Jaden McDaniels last night, like 25%. That one, I'm very happy worked out for me. I got out in front of that Nance news, so I had a decent chunk of Isaiah Hartenstein and Dean Wade, but turns out they scored 75 real points because for some reason their offensive guards were offensive. Who could have seen that one coming for Cleveland? Not me. Big Snooky. Congratulations. Second time in 2 weeks, you did it again. Came in third last night. It's awesome. That's what we're looking for, right? That's what we're looking for. Good job. All right, let's finish off this Atlanta Hawks team. Oh my God, I forgot they got Nas Little and Zach Collins. Did that really happen? I guess that really did happen, huh? Wait, did it? What was the trade? This is just wrong. Do you guys see this? The Atlanta Hawks are showing up in this depth chart as the Portland Trailblazers. Yeah, that's just not the Hawks. Are the Hawks in Portland down here? Nope. Portland's Portland, but Atlanta is also Portland. Cool. All right, well, let's try to figure out who's healthy for Atlanta. Q tag on DeAndre Hunter. Wasn't on the injury report. Is this? All right, I'm just going to look this up. Injury report. I need to look at the actual one, otherwise this is just going to be a failure. Okay. Atlanta's injury report from last night. Did they submit one? Yes. So Chris Dunn out. DeAndre Hunter questionable. So no Hunter, no Reddish for sure. Everybody else is available except for Hunter. Cool. That makes things a little bit easier. Julius, we will be having MLB shows. I will not be doing MLB shows at least until the NBA regular season ends. At that point, I'll probably start doing some MLB stuff. But I'm going to be doing NBA all the way up to the end of the NBA season, which honestly won't be that great for that last week or so, which is going to be tricky. And then let's see. Probably for the first round of the playoffs, we can probably continue to do process shows, and then we'll think about transitioning to baseballs in some way. All right, let's actually look at this Atlanta team now. And I think their most recent game will be the best available option here. We're going to leave DeAndre Hunter in as if he is playing, which I think will be helpful. I didn't mean to do what I just did. There we go. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Nope, that's not fine. There's no way I can transfer my crunches to FanDuel through phone. You gotta like export your CSV and then import it through Google Sheets and stuff and change it around. It's not something you want to be doing. Get a computer. Get a bigger computer. All right, Trae Young has been playing 36 minutes a game over the past 5 games. This is a game against Phoenix, so I'm going to assume that he does that again. Have to assume Lou Will is playing today, right? Yep. Okay. So I'm going to give Lou Will the backup point guard minutes. Here's what's really tricky. I don't think that they can play Lou Williams and Trae Young together all that much, but I assume they're going to try to. But that can't go well. It just cannot. In fact, I expect it to go poorly. All right, so I am going to take 2 minutes away from Hunter. Gallo, just 24 minutes, I guess. Let's take that down to 6. So I've got 5 minutes left over. John Collins at 31. Feels pretty reasonable. I agree with Ben Snap and hit that like button because I've been putting money in yo pockets. All right, Tony Snell's minutes look fine. I guess I just got to give some minutes to like Solomon Hill or something. The Hawks have been running really weird rotations. Going 13 deep. Not projecting that at all. Kevin Huerter's minutes seem fine, although maybe one too many. I'm just going to give those minutes to Solomon Hill. And then all we have to do is, yeah, like, I'm going to keep Lou Will at his normal usage rate just so it's not super weird. Yeah, I think that should be fine. Maybe it's not. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe we'll take it down just a notch. There we go. Perfect. All right, let's see what we got for Atlanta. Do I listen to Lebitard? No, I don't. Sorry. Cantor, good morning. Jimmy Jam, good morning. But no, Brian, I don't listen to Lebitard. Not for any particular reason. It's just not something I've ever done. All right, so for Atlanta, really not too much to like here out of the gate, but 4-game slate, so we need to open our minds up a little bit. Trae Young, clearly the top of the heap. Clint Capella, 8,500 on FanDuel, 7,400 on DraftKings. I shouldn't have to say too much here. He looks a lot better on DK. John Collins is 8,200 on FanDuel, 7K on DK. So the Hawks just as a whole looking a lot better on DraftKings than they do on FanDuel. Tough matchup against the Suns too. We move on to the Hornets. Yeah, let's move on to the Hornets. Hornets. So Malik Monk probable, obviously no LaMelo. Sean, so I can give you a link to what I bought, Sean, since you're looking for a good coffee maker. If you go to thewirecutter.com or just Google the Wirecutter coffee maker, I know that there's a proper way to say this company's name. I don't know what it is. So OXO, they make a lot of like household kitchen products and stuff. I think there's like an actual way that gets spoken. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but that's the coffee maker that I have. So whatever the Wirecutter's recommendation is, it might be the upgrade option too, one of those two. There's another one on there from, I think, Bonavita that I had previously. Either one of those will be good. Not cheap. I mean, relative to like all coffee makers, I guess. But the Wirecutter should be the place you go to for any sort of recommendations for things you want to buy. At the very least, it'll be pretty highly informed. Either that or Consumer Reports. I live for both of those sorts of publications. What's up, Crispy? All right, so Charlotte should be pretty easy to manage. I assume that's so that's an OT game. So 36 minutes for Rozier, 36 minutes for Gordon Hayward, 32 minutes for PJ Washington, I'm fine with. 30 minutes for Devontae Graham looks good. And then 26 minutes for Bridges feels like not enough. So I need to get him 2 extra minutes from somewhere. So Biyombo and Zeller played 26 total minutes here and 40 the game before that. So 38's just, I guess I'm just going to have to take 2 here from Zeller. That'll work. Does DK FanDuel price difference tell a definitive story? No, it doesn't matter at all what the difference is. One, you have to email support@awesemo.com. I don't have any tie to billing or support. Sorry. All right. I think most of these minutes seem fine. I don't entirely understand where I would give Cody Martin more minutes. Oh, yeah. Monk didn't play that game. That makes sense. When Monk is in, Cody Martin sees less minutes. So I think everything here looks good. Charlotte against Washington. So this is going to be a pretty big fantasy performance here. So we are going to have to pay pretty close attention to what we've got going on. For Charlotte, they are 2.5-point favorites in Washington. 231 total is the biggest total on the slate, and that's not even particularly close. 8 points ahead of the Hawks, Suns, 11 ahead of Sixers and Nuggets, and 14 ahead of Orlando and LA. So for Charlotte, yeah, all of that looks pretty good. Gordon Hayward is definitely the best I've talked about on both sites, not even close. PJ Washington for $5,600 on FanDuel. He's $1,200 cheaper than he is on DK, looking amazing. Terry Rozier very much in play on both sites. Malik Monk on DraftKings is only $4,900. He looks good. Devontae Graham is $5,300 on FanDuel. He looks good. Miles Bridges is available. Charlotte probably going to be the best fantasy option of the day today. They are going to pop up in crunches pretty aggressively. On to Denver. Yeah, MHP. 4-game slate today. Yesterday was 11. Annoying. It's either 10 or 11 again tomorrow, which is annoying as well. Brian, how do I decide if I'm playing a slate or taking the night off? It's usually like, do I have to do something with my wife? I play as much as if I'm going to be home, I play the slate. So like I just let my life calendar dictate that. That way I don't have to pick and choose. 100 viewers, 65 likes. This is like the core crew, huh? You guys are doing an incredible job. Yeah, been snapping. Or you play until you don't have any more money. Yeah, Harden is not a lock for MVP, Mr. OG, but good try. Good try. Morning, Tom. All right, so still no Monty Morris. That's really all we have to worry about for Denver. Obviously, we do have Aaron Gordon now, so I'm going to start these rotations up again. Jamal Murray, 36 minutes. All right, we'll go Jamal Murray, 35 minutes. Nikola Jokic, 35 minutes. Come on. Who played backup center for Denver in their last game? Dennis, it depends on the slate, but I mean, 5-man stacks on DraftKings, 4-man stacks on FanDuel, unless there's been a change. All right, so Jokic came off for JaMychal Green. So JaMychal Green was the straight backup center. Who? Oh, yeah, but now they have JaVale. That's tricky. Forgot they had JaVale. So I'm going to give JaVale a straight backup center run. We're going to give Facundo Campazzo the backup point guard run. Sorry, no loyalty rewards program, Izzy. All right, so Aaron Gordon played 20 minutes. I don't think that's going to be a long-term strategy. I'm going to give him 28 for today. And then Paul Millsap played 20. All right, so Aaron Gordon by default sort of has to be playing some minutes at the 3. Or JaMychal Green is going to leave the rotation, which I don't feel is a possible option. So let me think about this here. If Aaron Gordon's going to play 28 minutes and JaMychal Green can play 12, and Paul Millsap can play 20. Then I just need to put 12 minutes of Aaron Gordon at the 3. Perfect. And that can give me Michael Porter Jr. for 32 minutes at the 3. Although, maybe that's just going to have to be 30 now. And then we can give Facundo Campazzo at least another 5 minutes. Will Barton's clearly not going to play reduced role, which leaves 17 for PJ Dozier. That all makes pretty good sense to me. We're going to roll with something along those lines. We'll see how that works. So for Denver, taking on Philly, obviously no Joel Embiid. Jokic and Murray look just about identical on FanDuel. I would say that I prefer Jokic to Murray if I had to choose between the two, but relative to salary, it's basically the same. Michael Porter Jr. at 6,500 would be the third best option. Not a ton to like from Denver. And then on the DK side, Jokic is pretty massively ahead of Jamal Murray. Jokic is $800 cheaper on DK than he is on FanDuel. Jamal Murray is $600 more expensive on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel. So with just those two items to look at, Jokic, a much, much better play on DraftKings. Jamal Murray, a much better play on FanDuel. Porter looks the same on both sites. Not a ton of interest in Will Barton or Aaron Gordon or anybody else from Denver. Denver's rotation is probably going to be an important piece. Like, if JaVale doesn't get in and they play more minutes to like JaMychal Green, or Paul Millsap plays at the 5 or something along those lines, that can go a couple different ways and bring somebody in as a value play. All right, for the Clippers, so obviously we got the late Paul George news last night. Have to assume that he's going to play today and just sat out the front end of the back-to-back, but let's at least read some verbiage on it. All right, so Paul George, right foot soreness. Okay, sure. Been snapping. I don't think so. I'm not really sure. I don't think that JaVale, Paul Millsap, or JaMychal Green are going to get enough minutes. Sean, whatever coffee you want. There are infinite coffees on the planet. Find the one that you like the most. All right. So I have to assume that what I had projected for the Clippers yesterday is what I should go with today. Just doesn't seem like a scenario where I need to do something different. Yeah, I mean, I can flip-flop between Amir Coffey and Patrick Patterson. I don't think that matters at all. I guess we could try to figure out if it does. I'm quite confident that it doesn't. Uh, 19 and 9. Perfect. So Zubac played 24 minutes last night. Was that for any particular reason? Because they were up by 24, eh? Yeah, I think this is just going to have to be good. I don't really have a scenario where I would want to make any changes here. I think I have to just roll with the minutes that I got yesterday. Otherwise, things are just gonna be weird. I have to just assume Paul George is playing today until he's not. Like Zubac played normal rotation at the beginning of the first. It's all pretty normal rotations other than a little bit of foul trouble. But he was perfectly set up to be able to close. So I think we just move forward with this projection here. I don't see anything else I would want to change. So for the Clippers, they get Orlando, monster favorites, 10.5 points. And really, on tale of two sites, Kawhi is 9,600 on FanDuel. He's 8,800 on DraftKings. It's not even comparable. He is significantly better on DK. Paul George, 8,700 on FanDuel, 8,600 on DraftKings. Way better on DraftKings. Zubac is $300 cheaper on DK. Reggie Jackson's $100 cheaper on DK. Terrence Mann is the same price. Not a lot to like there from the Clippers against Orlando, but that shouldn't be too surprising. Now, for Orlando, I can't imagine how gross this is about to look. I don't even know if I have this like team correct. So, what do we got for Orlando? Obviously no Cole Anthony. Obviously no Gary Harris. Terrence Ross probable. MCW in. So I think I need to start from scratch. I don't think I've projected Orlando yet. So, oh God, this is brutal. Man, Orlando's really bad. Great trades, but really bad. On a small slate, how many different... I'll play 150 lineups no matter what today. Bull. I don't recommend going more anything in lineup construction. Every slate is going to be different, 100% different. So I don't subscribe to any like particular strategy. I know that's probably less helpful to hear, but it is also true. Okay, so we know that Terrence Ross is going to be in. Has not played in a long time. So I'm going to say that he's the 2. Chasen Randall and MCW. I mean, I have to assume that he plays like 28 minutes and that Randall plays like 20. At least for right now. Oh, I got to get Wendell Carter on here. And Otto Porter. Motion at my door 2 hours ago. Was the cat back? No, just a bug on the camera. All right, so Wendell Carter Jr. and Otto Porter, where are y'all hiding? So right here, I guess. Orlando. Orlando might be sneaky today, depending on what their prices are. How can you get an Awesemo badge? It's all through YouTube. I don't particularly know where you have to go to do that. All right, so Wendell Carter Jr. played 20 minutes the last time out. Mo Bamba played 17. Kem Birch played 26. So how did they actually run that rotation? Because I think that's informative. Because this game was close, so... All right, so they brought Wendell Carter Jr. in the second and fourth quarters, but he closed a legitimate game. Who started? So Kem Birch started. All right, so they're just all over the map in terms of positions. Good to know. So I'm going to assume Wendell Carter Jr. plays a little bit more today. They should be trying to play this dude all of the minutes, but we'll see where we end up there. I think Mo Bamba plays like 16. Actually, Bamba might just be out of the rotation. We'll figure that out in a second if I need those extra minutes. Kem Birch, 26 minutes. Otto Porter at the 4 playing like 22 minutes seems reasonable. We got to give Dwayne Bacon a pretty sizable chunk of minutes. Starting to run out of bodies here. RJ Hampton, I assume, is going to play a little bit more than he did. 18 minutes. I still got to give Chuma Okeke a ton of minutes, and his minutes aren't going anywhere at all. So, we'll go 28 to Okeke. So do we think, I guess James Ennis is going to play more than I was expecting. So who really loses out in this rotation? I guess it's going to be Mo Bamba. So we're going to take Mo Bamba out of there. That gives Bamba 26 minutes. I don't really enjoy this concept of James Ennis at the 4, but it seems like that's the way I got to go. So that leaves me 12 minutes for RJ Hampton. That doesn't feel right. I think it's just going to have to be what it is. They should play RJ Hampton more than they play James Ennis. And they might. I think that those minutes are going to have to be good. At which point I have no idea how to truly project this team and who's going to get any usage. So I am going to give Terrence Ross 27.5% usage. We're going to have to just see if we could pull something to get an idea of who gets minutes or usage bumps. 120 viewers, 91 likes, and we're not too far past 7 o'clock. We're looking good here. JB Crush, he played basically like the whole second quarter and the whole fourth quarter, man. He played a lot for his first game. All right, we need to try to figure out if we can gather any rates here. So we know there will be no Vooch and no Fournier and no Gordon. What have they done in those minutes so far this year? Do they even exist in any sort of bulk? All right, so they exist in way more bulk than I would have expected. So let's take Cole Anthony off as well and see if that helps. Nothing interesting, Jerry. How about you? All right, I think that's going to work as like a decent proxy. So Terrence Ross gets to 38% usage in 165 minutes without those guys on the floor. Now, I can't go that high, but I am going to go to 28.5. Dwayne Bacon goes to 27. I'm not going to go that high, but I am going to go a bit higher. Anybody else getting into the 20s? RJ Hampton did in limited run. That's not going to be as important. Frank Mason's not active. MCW, 28% usage in 110 minutes. I'm not going to go that high, but I will increase it. Is there anybody that hasn't seen any sort of bump? Chuma Okeke doesn't really. James Ennis doesn't really. Kem Birch, 13%. Otto Porter, 12%. Certainly not going to give him that number. Wendell Carter Jr., 16. So none of that looks good. I mean, maybe these guys do get a monster. JB Crush, I'm looking at it right here, man. He played 10 minutes in the second quarter, 10 and a half minutes of the 12 minutes in the second quarter, and almost 10 minutes in the fourth quarter. So he played a lot for his first game on a new team for not starting. I don't really know if I want to change any more rates. I don't trust any of this. Something like that. How does that work for Orlando? Let's see. All right, so for the Magic, yeah, I think we can roll with this. They look terrible. So all the prices for Orlando are bad. This could have went one of two different directions, and it's going the direction of bad. I'm probably not going to be recommending much of anything from Orlando. Only Wendell Carter Jr. at 1.01 FanDuel points per minute has a rate in my model north of 1. This is quite possibly the worst fantasy team ever assembled. Like, Terrence Ross being 6,900 and 7,100 just nerfs him. Yeah, JB, it's a lot considering it's the first game he played for Orlando. I would just rather play NBA. Jerry, that's all. MLB is not a sport that I have to think about playing. Like, I can play passively without paying attention at all. By the way, Nightbot just dropped the link in there. You can get 9 days of Awesemo Plus MLB for $9 if you follow that link. Promo code is starting9, STARTING 9, the number 9. But 9 days for $9 if you want to sign up. And you've never signed up before. Yeah, this Orlando team is rough. Like, all this red is bad. If Terrence Ross is out, like, maybe that opens up a little bit more, but Jerry, they're not really. Basketball is my most profitable DFS sport. Baseball is second, though. Football is not. On to Philly. Got to be slowly getting close to Embiid coming back, right? Yeah. Estimated return April 1st, so we'll see how that works out. Still no George Hill for Philly, and I think it's really interesting that Philly signed Mason Jones. I'm anxious to see where that goes because I know Morey is a Mason Jones guy. I have no idea if DraftKings will do best ball for baseball. Band, I tend to be pretty loose with who I remove. It depends on what sort of player they are. That's like, if they're relatively generic type dudes, then you could leave them in. All right. So for Philly, let's figure out this Sixers team here. All right. I'm going to take at least 1 minute away from Ben Simmons. You know what? No, I'm not. 36 for Simmons, 36 for Tobias Harris. Seth Curry at 27 minutes should have felt good, but it doesn't. But we're going to have some minutes to go around. Mike Scott played 29 and 28 the past 2 games because we don't have Tony Bradley anymore, which makes sense. So, Dwight Howard, I think, plays a little bit more today, but clearly not too much more. I'm going to go 24 and 24 to Scott and Howard. I think that makes sense. Danny Green. All right, so we got to give Thibault a couple more minutes. Probably. Jim, that's totally up to you. I'll be playing 150. Okay, let's do 12 and 10. Korkmaz, 16 minutes seems fine. We'll get Seth Curry up to 29, and then 2 spillover minutes to Maxey. Seems like it'll be okay. All these rates should just be correct at this point. So for Philly against Denver, by the way, over 100, so that's fun. Ben Simmons, 7,900 on FanDuel. Sign me up for that. 8,700 on DraftKings, not nearly as interesting. Tobias Harris on DK at 8,500, looking pretty good. Figuring out what else you need to do with Philly should be interesting. A lot of like-looking guys today. 2 to go. Phoenix and Washington, and then we can run a bunch of crunches and actually get an idea of what this slate looks like. I'm assuming Phoenix is easy to project. So no Nader, and then that's the only thing we got to worry about. I assume that was OT. It was. All of these minutes should be largely correct. Jay Crowder, 29. Sure. 8 and 28. That's not enough. $16 for Craig. 14 for Payne. Galloway barely played. Cam Johnson played like 18. Not much really to change here. Let's do something like that. All right, that should be good for Phoenix. There's really not many changes. Same rotation as normal. And they don't look great on the surface. Booker, Paul, Bridges, all pretty similar across FanDuel relative to salary. Booker, Paul, Ayton, pretty similar relative to salary. No real standouts, but no surprise. It's Phoenix. We'll see what actually pops up when we run crunches, because that's really what matters here. The context is going to be a little bit different until we can run a crunch. But now we're on to Washington. Obviously, Bradley Beal is likely to be questionable for most of this. I'm going to be assuming that he plays. Daniel Gafford is legit hurt, so he is certainly not playing. No Ish, no Bertans. Let's gut this rotation and try to figure out what we're going to do for Washington. And then we're done. We're going to give Russ 36 minutes. We're going to give Bradley Beal 36 minutes. Robin Lopez played 10 last night. Len played 22. Gafford played, but then he got hurt. Mo Wagner not there anymore. And this is against Charlotte, so Rui can play the 5 against PJ Washington pretty easily. I'm going to say Len plays 21 minutes. I'm going to say Robin Lopez plays 18 minutes, and then the final 9 can go to Rui. He'll play 35. Yeah, that Cantor, that was pretty rough. All right. Neto will play backup point guard run plus a little extra. Most of this should then not matter all that much. Denny. Now that Hutchison is there, I don't trust those minutes. So I'm going to say that Denny plays 24 at the 4. And then Hutch can get 18. Garrison Matthews plays 18. Jerome Robinson plays 14. Most of these rates can get deleted. Beal's rates stay in. And I think we're good for Washington. Final team against Charlotte. Looks like we're going to be looking pretty heavily at the 2 main guys here. Surprise, surprise. So let's just knock that down a hair. Okay. So Beal, If he's playing 8,800 on FanDuel, let's just make a couple little adjustments here. There we go. All right, so Beal 8,800 on FanDuel, 8,900 on DraftKings. Looks great on both sites. Russ is 11K on FanDuel and 10.9 on DraftKings. I think we're looking at Russ pretty much either way today, although that is pretty pricey. But 1.43 fantasy points per minute, I think, is a pretty reasonable spot to land. He's been at 1.58 for the past 30 days. He's at 1.34 in my model. I think splitting the difference there makes some sense. And if Beal is out, obviously we're going right back to Russ. Rui looks okay. Len is probably a value center that we're going to get really disgusted by, but we'll see where that ends up. But that's it, guys. We just got through 8 teams by 7:17. Now we can run some crunches. Appreciate everybody being here. 160 viewers, north of 100 likes. Everything is going swimmingly. So let's run a crunch. First one up is going to be optimal lineup on FanDuel. Going to see a lot of Charlotte here, I think. All right. First one up. Optimal lineup on FanDuel. Yeah, there it is. Ben Simmons, Jamal Murray, Bradley Beal, Devontae Graham, Gordon Hayward, Rui Hachimura, Tobias Harris, PJ Washington, Alex Len. I like every bit of that lineup except for Alex Len. But at 3,900, given his projection, I think he's going to pop up a lot. You hope that he gets, 28 minutes, 26 minutes, 24 minutes even, and not 12 or 15. That one's going to be tricky. So if we look at the power rankings, I think that'll tell a story of what center looks like and really give you an idea of which direction to go. I think this might be a better way to look at this. We'll go position by position on FanDuel, based on how often people show up in the power rankings. All right, so there's 500 lineups crunched out quickly. Power rankings. We'll go position by position. So Ben Simmons is at the top of the heap. First we'll go overall. Top 10. PJ Washington, Bradley Beal. PJ Washington clearly at the top. Bradley Beal and Gordon Hayward are in the next tier. And I would say that, obviously, we don't know the status of Beal, but they would be tier 2. Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Jamal Murray, Devontae Graham, Trae Young, Russ, PG, Miles Bridges, Kawhi. All looking pretty similar. But at point guard, Simmons, Murray, Trae Young, Russ, Terry Rozier, Chris Paul. That is basically like the core tier. MCW is in that pack a little bit. Hey, happy to have you, man. Glad you were able to turn 40 into 320 last night. That's I bet that felt pretty good waking up. Shooting guard spot. Beal separates from the pack if he is in. Devontae Graham, Paul George, Devin Booker would be the next priority tier. And then it gets kind of gross. Curry, Barton, Mann, Ross, Monk. Just kind of gross. Small forward, Gordon Hayward, clearly at the top. And you get a little bit of a tier of Kawhi, Rui, and Bridges and Bogdanovich. Maybe a little Batum and Michael Porter Jr. Power forward is clearly PJ Washington at the top. Tobias Harris, Miles Bridges, Marcus Morris, and then good luck figuring out Kem Birch, Mike Scott, Jay Crowder. That'll be a disaster. And then here's the centerpiece. So Len clearly makes things work, but Jokic is the top priority center. Zubac and Dwight Howard are in that same little Alex Len bucket, depending on how much salary you have if you want to go value. So really, you're either paying up for Jokic, paying slightly down for Clint Capella, or going Zubac, Howard, Len. None of those people are DeAndre Ayton, which is interesting. Really just unfun center position. But that's what we've got going on for FanDuel. Let's move it on over to DraftKings, run another optimal, figure out what we've got going on there. This has the potential to be really crazy. So optimal on DK. Trae Young, Malik Monk, Gordon Hayward, Mike Scott, Bismack Biyombo, Bradley Beal, Kawhi Leonard, Alex Len. Blech. That is gross. Truly, truly disgusting. Not good. But that's what the optimal is. Or you can swap out Bismack Biyombo for Raul Neto and lose 0.2 of a point, which also does not feel all that appealing. Power rankings on DraftKings, which could really go any direction. At least crunches go fast on a 4-gamer. Yeah, gotta love when Malik Monk is at the top of the power rankings on a day where you don't know if he's going to play. But coming off a 40-pointer and a 32-pointer, just need him to shoot. Alrighty. Power rankings are about there. Malik Monk just at the top of the heap on DraftKings today. I really like that price tag, 4,900. How many minutes did I give him? Did I just like project him wrong? Starting to feel, well, I guess that's what happens when you face Washington. Malik Monk, yeah, I gave him 26 minutes. I'm okay with that. So power rankings for DK: Malik Monk, Gordon Hayward, Mike Scott, Bradley Beal, Kawhi Leonard, Alex Len, Nikola Jokic, Ivica Zubac, Jamal Murray, Paul George, Trae Young, Rui Hachimura, Ben Simmons, and Reggie Jackson rounds out the bottom of DK, which leaves the final site to look at. That would be Super Draft. Let's check out the Super Draft, optimal, and power rankings, and then we'll pack it in. Letting you guys in on a little secret there. That'll be fun. All right, projection for Super Draft. Optimal lineup: Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, Terry Rozier, Kawhi Leonard, Gordon Hayward, PJ Washington, Nikola Jokic. And that is pretty clearly my optimal too, by almost 1.5 points. Power rankings for Super Draft, and then we are done for today, which is incredibly fun. Guys, what's it going to be like to finish the process show in an hour? Not really sure. Stretch it out a little bit. All right, power rankings for Super Draft. Gordon Hayward at the top of the heap. No surprises there. 1.45 multiplier. I assume he is quite clearly my top. Yeah, by 3.5 points. Then we go Terry Rozier, Kawhi Leonard, Nikola Jokic, PJ Washington, Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Bradley Beal, Jamal Murray, Tobias Harris, Trae Young, Devin Booker, Ben Simmons, Ivica Zubac. Look at that. 8 teams up, 8 teams down. Optimal lineups for FanDuel, for DraftKings, for Super Draft. Checking off all the boxes. Shout out to Monkey Knife Fight. I can't do an optimal for you guys, but I can say that you should go sign up at Monkey Knife Fight using the promo code Awesemo. Get yourself 100% instant deposit match bonus up to $50. It's going to be a fun slate. So I'm on the strategy show. Well, contenders videos will be out shortly. They'll be gross. I'm on the strategy show with Laffy. So tune into that at 10. And then I don't know. I got golf stuff to do, all sorts of other weird stuff. But no live before lock for me tonight. Nope, that's the wrong screen. There we go. So that's it, guys. We done. Another one in the books. Got another monster slate coming up tomorrow, either 10 or 11 games. So we're going to be buckling up for a big one. But we'll get there when we get there. We'll be here for an hour and a half tomorrow. No doubt about it. This is a fun one. 4-game slate. A lot of moving parts, though. It's kind of tricky. Like, Beal being out will really change everything. So, and then we still have to pay attention to find out if we're going to see Paul George or not today. So those two guys are going to have a big-time trickle-down effect on the slate. Guys, I see all the thanks coming in from the chat. I appreciate you guys. Thank you as well. Let's have a good one. Let's win some money tonight. Good luck, everybody. I'll talk to you again tomorrow morning.